It's our pleasure and privilege to introduce to you this year's recipient of the Ivan Allen Jr. Prize for Social Courage, the Honorable John Robert Lewis.
The nominating committee for the Ivan Allen Jr. Prize for Social Courage, to all of the distinguished faculty members for Georgia Tech, and to all of the students, Ambassador Young, Ambassador Fowler, Charlene Hunter, Ford, my friend and my sister, Jerry Frank, my friend and sister. And to all of my colleagues and friends who are here today, this is extraordinary. The members of the Ivan Allen family, the members of the Glenn family, and Tom, thank you for that video. Thank you, it's amazing. I just want to take a moment, Mr. President, and Dean Roscoe, again, to say thank you. To be honored with an award, a prize, named after Ivan Allen Jr., and to be included with the likes of Sam Nunn and Dr. Fogan was almost too much. It is unreal. It is unbelievable to me. When President Peterson came to my office here in Atlanta to give me the news of the words that Georgia Tech wanted to honor me with the Ivan Allen Jr. Prize for Social Courage, I was moved, Charlene, again to tears. I said, Mr. President, I really don't feel worried, because the only thing I ever tried to do in my life is just to do what I could to help, to make a difference. I tried to make a contribution, to make a way out of no way, to meet the pressing need of a people that have been left out and left behind in the heart of the American South, especially in the 11 states of the old Confederacy, from Virginia to Texas. I was inspired, yes, to find a way to get it away. I've heard the words of Martin Luther King Jr. I followed the drummer of the Montgomery bus boycott. I had been inspired to act. I was not anyone special, just an ordinary farm boy, son of sharecroppers, that was inspired by what I call the spirit of history. But we studied the philosophy and the discipline of nonviolence. The sit-ins, the freedom rides, the marches, including the March on Washington and the March from Selma to Montgomery. We sitting there on a lunch counter stool in the city of Nashville, or in Atlanta, or some other place in the South, and someone will come up and maybe spit on you. Put out a likeness or in your hair or down your back. But we were taught to accept the way of peace, the way of love, the way of nonviolence, as a way of life, as a way of living. So I accept this prize, accept this honor. And it's my hope and my prayer that it would inspire generation yet unborn, that they too, students here at Georgia Tech and other colleges and universities in Atlanta, in Georgia, and around our country, to find a way to make a difference. Ivan Allen, yes, was a very successful businessman. He had a conscience, he had vision, and he provided great leadership. Sometimes I feel today that maybe, just maybe, we're losing our way. What happened to us as a nation? What happened to us as a people? Is there something in our DNA? Is there something in our makeup that we cannot say, excuse me? I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? On May 9th, 1961, and I got off that Greyhound bus in Rock Hill, South Carolina, with my seatmate, a young white gentleman by the name of Albert Bigelow. We were met by a group of young men who beat us and left us lying in a pool of blood. The local police officials came up and said, do you want to press charges? We said no. "48 years later, one of the men that beat my seatmate, came to my office in Washington, D.C. and said, Mr. Lewis, I'm one of the people that attacked you. Will you forgive me? I want to apologize." He was moved by the election of President Obama. He said someone had asked him, do you want to go to heaven? Or do you think you're going to heaven? He said, I don't think so. He was moved by that election and moved by the request of his son to seek out the people that he had done. I said, I forgive you. I accept your apology. His son started crying, he started crying, I started crying. He hugged me, his son hugged me, I hugged him. I saw him 4 different times. He called me brother. I called him brother. That was the power of the movement. To move toward laying down the burden of division, laying down the burden of hate, and creating a community, a beloved community, at peace with itself. The power to forgive and be reconciled. Sometime in the Congress, I feel like if we could have a few nonviolent workshops. And that's why, in the young, I take members of Congress back to Birmingham, back to Montgomery, back to Selma. Maybe, just maybe, these men and women, black and white, Democrats and Republicans, Latinos and Asian American and Native American, will be inspired. Get together. I had a member of the United States Senate, not from Georgia, 7 years ago to go on a trip from another state. After the trip was over, you said to me, John, if I had been on this trip earlier, my voting record would be different. So I said to you, Mr. President, and the Georgia Tech family, and each and every one of you, that we must never, ever lose hope. We must never, ever get lost in a sea of despair. We must keep the faith and keep moving toward the building of that beloved community right here in America and around the world. It's not impossible, but it must start. It must begin someplace. Maybe with each one of us. I feel more than blessed. Not lucky, but more than blessed that I have witnessed in our own country, in our own region, what I like to call a nonviolent revolution. A revolution of values, a revolution of ideas. And when people said to me, nothing has changed, John, I said, come and walk in my shoes. I will show you. We're better people. Our country's better. But we still have a distance to go. People ask me whether the election of President Barack Obama is a fulfillment of Dr. Martin Luther King's dream. And been for individuals like Martin Luther King Jr., I don't know where I would be. I could still be down there in Alabama preaching to those chickens that baptized us. But when people say, is this the fulfillment of Dr. King's dream? I said, no, it's just a down payment. It's a down payment. We must continue to press on. And receiving this honor, named for Ivan Allen, will inspire me to keep pushing on. The simple justice exists for all of the people of this land. And I'm not just talking about America, but all humanity. But in the final analysis, we are one people, one family, one house, not just the American house, but the world house. And as I've said over and over again, it doesn't matter whether we're black or white, Latino, Asian American, or Native American, whether we're Democrats or Republicans, whether we're gay or straight, whether we're wealthy or low income, we're one people. We're one house, the world house. So I said to you, thank you, walk with the wind, and let the spirit of history be your guide.